The moment she said those words, my whole world stopped. I remember standing in the kitchen, holding a cup of coffee, while her trembling voice shattered everything I believed about our marriage. "I'm pregnant," she said, avoiding my eyes, "but it might not be yours." The sound of those words echoed in my head again and again, each time cutting deeper. For a few seconds, I couldn't even breathe. We had been married for 7 years. Through struggles, job losses, and family troubles, I always thought our bond was unbreakable. I worked long hours to give her comfort, to build a life she could be proud of. And yet, here I was, standing before a woman I no longer recognized. She wasn't crying yet. Maybe she thought I'd shout, throw something, or beg. But I didn't. I just stared at her, quietly waiting for her to continue. She started explaining, her words stumbling over each other. She said it just happened, that she didn't mean to hurt me, that it was a mistake. Every excuse felt like a blade. My hands were shaking, but I refused to let her see my pain. Instead, I asked one question: who? That one word seemed to freeze her completely. She looked down, whispered a name I didn't expect, someone I had once called a friend. That name burned through my chest like fire. My best friend, someone who had shared meals at my table, who had laughed with us, who had even asked me for advice about his own relationship. It all started to make sense. The long phone calls, the group hangouts I wasn't invited to, the sudden coldness in her tone when I asked too many questions. The betrayal was not just hers, it was his too. I wanted to scream, to break something, but instead, I walked to the window and stared outside at the gray sky. Rain had started falling, slowly at first, then heavier. She called my name softly, asking me to say something. I turned around and said, "You destroyed everything I ever built for us." My voice was calm, but my heart was bleeding inside. She tried to walk closer, crying now, saying she didn't want to lose me, that she wasn't sure whose child it was but wanted to fix things. I laughed bitterly, not because it was funny, but because I couldn't believe how easily she spoke those words. "You want to fix things?" I asked. "Tell me, how do you fix something you've shattered with your own hands?" The silence that followed was unbearable. She broke down, falling to her knees, repeating, "I'm sorry," like a prayer. I wanted to believe her, I truly did. A part of me still loved her, still remembered the woman who used to wait for me at the door after work. But love isn't blind forever. I realized that forgiving her wouldn't heal me, it would only chain me to the memory of her betrayal. That night, I packed a small bag. She followed me around the house, begging, saying she'd do anything, that she'd prove her loyalty, that we could raise the baby together no matter what. But I couldn't stay. I told her I needed time to think, though deep down, I already knew what that meant. I walked out into the rain, the same rain that had started when she confessed, as if the sky itself was mourning with me. The next few days were a blur. Friends called, my mother worried, and my so-called friend never showed his face. Then one morning, I got a message from him, a simple, "I'm sorry." I didn't reply. There was nothing left to say. The two people I trusted most had destroyed the one thing that made my life meaningful. Weeks passed. She kept trying to contact me, saying the baby was mine, that she'd gone for tests, that she wanted me back. I ignored her at first, but one evening she came to my apartment, tears streaming down her face. She handed me the paternity test results with trembling hands. The child was mine. For a moment my heart softened, but then I remembered her words, asterisk, "It might not be yours." Asterisk, that doubt had already poisoned everything between us. She asked me what I was going to do. I looked at her for a long time before answering. "I'll take responsibility for the child," I said quietly, "but not for your choices." That's when she broke down completely, crying harder than I had ever seen her. I didn't feel proud. I didn't feel powerful. I just felt empty. I realized forgiveness isn't something you give to someone who betrayed you, it's something you give yourself to move on. I had to forgive her in my heart, not to bring her back, but to free myself from the pain. So I told her, "I forgive you." Her eyes widened, hope flickered in them, but before she could speak I added, "But I'm done." Those words made her cry harder than anything else. She understood it was over, not because of anger, but because love could no longer survive where trust had died. She left quietly, and I closed the door behind her, this time for good. Years have passed since that day. I still think about what happened sometimes, but not with bitterness anymore. I've learned that betrayal doesn't define you, your response to it does. And mine was simple. I chose peace over pain, truth over illusion, and silence over chaos. And that's what truly made her cry, not because I yelled, but because I finally let her go.